Good morning, Lafayette. It is great to talk to each and every one of you who is out there, and at the current moment, that is one person. All right, that's the way it works, and that's how this gig does. Welcome to Let's Talk Lafayette. We will be talking about all the weather that is to be talked about for Lafayette, Indiana, and what you are to expect. I am your host, Brian Michael Burden, meteorologist and longtime Lafayette. I wouldn't say native because I was born in northern Indiana, but from after the time I retired from the Marine Corps till now, pretty much most of that time with a short stint in South Carolina. So there we go. I was your WFI meteorologist way back in 1997 to 2003. I was on the air, went to Antarctica one time in there, and then I went to Antarctica full time from 2003 on to about 2015, and we moved back to the area. We were in South Carolina for a while, and then came back and have been back here for ever since. But I have been forecasting weather throughout the entire globe, just about that entire time frame, since 1983. 1983 is when I first got into the Marine Corps and started doing weather and weather forecasting, and then I was an instructor at the schoolhouse too, so lots and lots of experience. Not that I want to blow my own horn, but experience does help in weather forecasting, that's for sure. Some of the folks coming straight out of school don't have a lot of that. That does not mean they are not very good at what they do, though, because they have some of the ins and outs of some of the high-tech stuff that I don't have, right? I don't get to see all the time. So we see a little bit of a mix of both of the play there, and it's kind of nice to learn from one, and I can learn from them, too, at the same time. Well, let's get away from that. Otherwise, we'll talk about that. We got to talk about weather, right? What's going on locally? What are we going to worry about today as we get into the day today? And we are going to be seeing a mixture of, how about a little bit of everything today? Not quite as exciting as the slide looks, right, with snow and then 80 and then what's going on after that. But we are going to see a rise in temperatures after a pretty good push of snowfall here in this, really during the entire show today, right? From about 9 to 10 o'clock is your heaviest snowfalls, and then it's going to die away, and we're going to be okay for a while, it looks like, at least on the early front on that. And as always, let's take a look at what's happening locally temperature-wise. I'm going to swap it over here, and we're going to look at some of the what we're going to be looking at is some of the current weather, of course, across the nation and across Lafayette. That's what we call the nation, right? 27 degrees right now, snow outside, feels like 17, winds only 8 miles an hour. That's down a little bit from yesterday. We were in the 10 to 14 range most of the morning yesterday morning, and we had a temperature that was a little bit colder, so it felt a lot colder. So it only feels like 17 out there, and the snowfall is pressing through the region right now. Now, these canned numbers out of the models that you get on your websites pretty much just take it straight off of what the model says at the specific time, and we have to figure it out. So 46 degrees it says for a high today with a low of 35. Well, 27 we're at right now, so you can see how your data can be kind of crazy at times. Looking for highs Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you see it warms up very nicely all the way through Sunday, and then Monday starts to fall off again. We're going to go through this whole trend this entire week. We're going to go day by day. We're going to look at where the systems are moving, why the temperatures are coming from where they're coming. Will we get some wind? Will we get some snow? That kind of thing. And then we're going to go out for the extended forecast. And it's going to take about a half hour to 45 minutes of me talking through each chart and walking you guys through it. And we'll talk about everything that has happened in like yesterday and how that might affect us, what's happening today, and then what will be happening in the future as we move farther and farther into the next half hour to 45 minutes. Then I'll probably talk a little bit of Purdue basketball, hence the headband, right? The famous headband I used to do when I did a lot of Purdue podcasts. That was a couple years ago. I might start doing some of those again, although the season's almost over. Maybe we'll bust out something when they have a big game here on Friday night. Maybe we'll do one of those where the game's going on and you talk about it while it's going on, even though you can't show what's going on. Kind of thing. Copyright, right, whatever. That might be fun to do on Friday as Purdue plays on Friday. All right, so what's happening today? We see the 27. We've been talking about weather across the country. And after I take a quick look at those numbers, the first thing I always look at is what does the big picture say to me across the country right now, right? What is it saying as I look at some of these charts and maps? And so I'm going to go to the satellite picture to try to figure that out. And the first thing I'm going to look for, generally speaking, this is the United States. This is an infrared shot because we are coming out at nighttime. We're not seeing much visual shots yet starting to pick up. It's crossing the country, right? For instance, it's still dark out on the West Coast right now. So we're taking pictures of the clouds at night, and I want to find the jet stream, and I can see the first pronounced portion of the jet stream could be seen out on the West Coast. Big high over Nevada right now, right? This is what we used to call where they would get Santa Ana winds on the Southern California, right? When some kind of high set up over Nevada, the winds would come across and then they would shoot through all the gaps along Southern California right there, and we would see 50, 70, 80 mile an hour winds in places, in some of those canyons especially, and then out off the coast. I remember one time we did a deployment off the coast and we got like 60 mile an hour winds out there. It was crazy. It knocked a lot of things over. Clear blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, and here was the wind howling. Plus, it warms it up. Okay, so when you decrease in the height coming down from those wind Santa Anas, you increase the temperature and you increase the wind speeds, generally speaking. But that's because the jet stream's right here. It's arcing, right? We see that it is ridging up over the Rocky Mountains, high up into Canada, and then dropping back down, and then going back up along the eastern half of the United States, probably out off the coast right now. Inside that low is, in that trough area where it troughs down and moves back up, is us. We're in the colder pocket right now, right? But we're kind of getting into our springtime regime, so we're not as cold as we've been. Yesterday, we were able to see a lot of cold temperatures up here to the north. Today there's cloud cover over it, so we can't see it quite as well on the ground or anything like that. But it's probably a little warmer back off to our northwest today, where our temperatures generally come from. And these are just generalities. And we see the snowfall that's trying to pass right over us right now and is going to move through pretty quickly this morning. Let's go in a little closer, see what it looks like in our neck of the woods, and you can see some of the cloud cover there back up over towards Iowa, southern Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, obviously Indiana, Ohio. Everybody's got something. The blue here, there's a little more intensity. You see a little bit of some greens in there for some higher tops on some of the clouds. I saw yesterday that there was potential maybe for a thunder strike out of here, and that might be one or two of these. But generally speaking, this is just a quick batch of heavy snow moving through in a Alberta Clipper type system, and we get those Alberta Clippers because they come out of Alberta and the Clipper type ships, which were fast back in the day. So these things move through quick. They drop about an inch of snow depending on where you're at. Occasionally you get two. A lot of times you just get a dusting out of these, but it looks like we had a little bit of light snow overnight. We're going to get a quick little shot of some heavier snow, and then they'll just be hit and miss type variety back behind the system. That's just by looking at the satellite picture. I can kind of see that's where we're headed to right now. Let's zoom in one more right here. And the reason I wanted to go in here, Lafayette is right about there, is you can see that the band is just south of Lafayette. So down towards Covington, down towards maybe even Crawfordsville, you'll get a little bit more snow. It looks like we did hit a pretty good batch about an hour or so ago that came through and is now already east of Indianapolis. And then behind the system is more of the flurry type activity. So let's put the radar on top of that, the mosaic, and see what it looks like. And you can see there's the batch that went through. Here's the big thick batch right there, and you can see some of the real thick parts. Lafayette being right here. Looks like we're going to catch one of these, if not right now. It's right about ready to hit us. And then the southern portion of the county gets this batch right here. There's a little bit of a let up, it looks like, maybe for the south side of town right in there, but it still looks like snowfall. But look how fast it's moving. It's moving very quickly. This is in a short period, probably in the 40 to 60 mile an hour range it's moving. So it's going to move through very quickly as it does, and it'll drop that snow, probably make things a little annoying for a while, and then it will definitely, it'll get itself out of here like all the Clipper systems tend to do. Now, I'm going to take a look real quick here. I'm going to go look at some of our resources here, weather. I'm going to go look at what the snowplows look like since we looked at what it looked like there. What are we seeing camera-wise? Look at this, all the way to the north already, passed already through this location at 231 and 65, right? And you see there's not a lot of snow on the ground up here. So they didn't get a ton up there, and I'm already seeing some pretty bright skies in that general area up there. And that's kind of nice to see that we can see that right now. That the weather looks pretty good at that point. So then we come a little farther south, and we come down to State Road 18 and 65, and I can see about the same amount of snow, not much, just a dusting out there. The roads still look good. That's a good indicator, right? Now the system's already passed here. Now here we are at 43, and look I see some bright skies. Now this is looking back off towards the north, right? And we can see back up towards where the snowfall has come from and is starting to clear out. And we notice already that we didn't see any snowfall up of those two areas to our north where both the highways crossed. And here we are at 26, and it looks like maybe the snow has already passed through us at this point already. See, the snowfall is not, we see a little bit on the sides. Doesn't look like there's a ton out there on the ground, and nothing is falling that we can see. We go all the way down to Dayton exit. Here's the Dayton exit. We get same thing, more snowfall on the ground. I see a little bit more darker clouds in here at this point. And then one more shot, we go down to Frankfort, and you can see it's not dropping a lot of snowfall. So that's the thing you get with some of these systems as they come through. We've gotten basically a dusting of what we've gotten overnight, which is kind of what we were looking for. Dusting to maybe an inch was the biggest that one model showed yesterday. And so far, we're only seeing that dusting portion being shown at all. So we go back to that radar shot. And remember that a lot of this isn't even getting to the ground right here that they're showing right here. We didn't see anything up in the exits up there at all. Okay, so maybe it missed a little bit. Maybe it's right on the horizon. Maybe it's just about caught in between. We'll keep an eye on the cameras though, just to see if something happens over the next hour or two. Matter of fact, let's go back and let's look around town real quick. Let's go to the map itself. How about on the south side of town? Are we picking up any snow there? Well, it looks like there has been a little bit of snow in the past, a little bit, right? That's on the ground, but most of the roads are looking pretty good. This is right down by the mall, and the school bus is going into the mall. I'm not sure where the school bus is going. Oh, no, it's going on to Teal. Must be going out of the mall into Teal. Must have been on a class road trip, right? So there's what we could see on that one. All right, let's see what's happening up on the northwest side of town. Maybe they look like they've picked up a little bit more snow overnight up on West Lafayette and on the northwest side of town there. So a little bit more snowfall up in their locations. And then let's go like way out to Logansport. There's a camera on Logansport. You can see there's a little bit of light snow, especially on the sides here. Kind of get a little bit of, sometimes you'll get a more snowfall on the sides of the hills and where trees are because of the shadows. It doesn't melt the snow quite as quickly. But it does look like they picked up some overnight last night. And then in the town of Frankfort right now, that camera's not showing. Didn't help me out. Thanks, guys. Maybe way over to Kokomo. What's Kokomo showing? That looks like dry. That looks pretty dry right there, like they've got little to nothing overnight over in the Kokomo area. And then we have one way out by Fowler, and look at that. They are in the snow, or at least the picture when it was taken at 9:54, 20 minutes ago. So you can see there still is some snow out there. Visibilities are a little bit lower. This was 20 minutes ago. You can see it falling on the ground, and you can see it's accumulating a little bit, but we're still talking basically a dusting to maybe a half an inch, it looks like, for most people. That's the best we can find. So, and that was in that batch that was right here, and it was coming across. So what it looked like on the radar to me was the snow was right here. So let's see how close it is by that. When we pinpoint that, it's just getting to that spot. Fowler having been up in here, obviously getting a little bit of that snowfall as it came through, and maybe it got into some of this little heavier batch, right? Just that little bit of heavier batch. So right now, at least on the latest shots, and let's go back and look at when the latest shots were taken. For instance, here's 43s. This was taken 7 minutes after the hour. So this was 7 minutes ago. Not much really happening at 43 at all, right? So it seems like it may be out there. Maybe these cameras out to the east of town, which, would be the west of town, we see some snowfall on the ground out towards the airport, right? Out that direction. And then what about some of the snowplows? Here's a snowplow that at 9:08 this morning, and he didn't have much. He's just icing the roads, or he's taking care of what he can. But he's out there on 26, out west of town. So that's where that one is. That's that snowplow right there, and that's where he was in the last hour. Let's go back and look at one of his other pictures. Did he get any? Nope, not a lot of snow. Matter of fact, what looks like now is, the difference I can see now is the picture from a half hour ago, right? Time frame on this is 8:47. His skies look pretty decent. They don't look too bad. But then you go back the picture, and it looks like he's like to where he is now. The skies are a little darker right now. We go back to that picture real quick. Let's see if we can find it, because it takes a picture on his truck every minute, basically. And that didn't help me. I got you some wrong data. There we go. And it looks a little gloomier in the skies, and that would fit pretty good with this stuff trying to come over. And he's out right about here right now, right? He's just out to the west of town. So he's just getting into this batch. And what's the time frame on this? The last shot's 10 minutes after the hour. So it's on us is what it's doing. So, and we are already seeing, we're not seeing much snowfall, but these pictures were a little bit older on there that we were seeing from the satellite pictures that were actually the snowfall pictures. There it is. That one's 43 after the hour. Hence the reason why we're seeing some of these that are so far out and we're not seeing anything on them at all. And then there you go. That's 07. That was back up to State Road 18, but it looked like it was missing them, didn't it? So it's these cameras right in here, 25, 43. 25 was taken a half hour ago too. See, so they're not taking their pictures very often at all, 43 minutes after the hour. We're going to have to come back to those and try to see if we can see something in a little bit, because we can definitely see some snow on the radar, right? So we'll see what happens here in another 10 minutes or so and see if we start to see some of that snowfall popping up on the different places there on the charts. Now I'm gonna give myself another College of DuPage page here, and I'm gonna go out to the numerical models. And let's see what the models say right now, right? Okay, we only have 31% of 12Z in, so I'm going to hit 11Z real quick here. And I'm going to zoom in real close and see what it shows us. We're going to go winter, precip type. It shows the big batch right there. This it's showing basically at 8 o'clock this morning is where it was. Then 9 o'clock, there you go. It kind of washes it out already. Look at that. 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock. But we noticed that our little blob of snow has stayed with it as it's come through, and then it's pretty quiet the rest of the day. Doesn't really show any snow. You would probably only see a flurry or two maybe later today. That being said, then there's another system that you can see on the horizon coming in tonight. All right, which is actually, I think the timing is tomorrow morning is the best time frame for that one. And we'll get into that as we go in here a little bit. Let's zoom back out. Let's go back out to our Midwest kind of, of course, to our Midwest look, right? And let's go back to our time frame here. Let's go back to the 6Z because it'll give us about 40 hours of look of what we're looking at. And if you notice right here on this is 6 hours ago, and the HER wasn't showing much snow for us at all. Lafayette being right here, all right? So here we are right now. This is 10 o'clock in the morning is what it's showing, and I don't see any snowfall over us. Now, it picked up on, so there must not have been much overnight up in this general area, but we did pick up a little bit of light snow as it moved through, and we can see that on our satellite pictures, and then we can see where the actual snow is on our radars, right? So we're seeing that, but what I'm noticing here is, remember the 540 line, those of you who have stuck with me for a little while and have a general idea what I'm looking at weather-wise. I got a little chat in there. Hi, Papa, I'm at school. It's the oldest. Thanks, Josh. Good to see you, brother. All right, he got in and out of there. That's kind of cool to see that he was able to check in, probably between classes, because I don't think he's in there now. But it's nice to see that he checked in on us. All right, so that 540 line is usually an indicator about where your warmth is, where your freezing area is. Usually on one side or the other, you kind of go for snow or you go for rain, right? But it also kind of gives you just a general idea of where the freezing temperature is at any given point. And it's just a rough estimate. There's always indicators and topography and different things that can change it, but it's just a rough indicator. So when I look at charts and I don't see much on it, like I don't see any snow I'm looking at, and I'm trying to see what's going to happen with the system coming in tonight, I'm watching this line, right? So here we are at 8 o'clock tonight, and we're watching this band right here. Yesterday, it dropped it right onto us for tomorrow. Late, like 4, 5, 6 in the morning, or even mid-morning, it dropped it in on us. But it's a warm system. That being said, it can have some problems with it. Now, it drops it in on us, but it takes it mostly north of us, if you notice. Look at this, mostly north. It wouldn't take much to be a little farther south, right? And this is the same kind of clipper type system, but we will now have warmer air in here as the day goes on today, because we are going to warm up very rapidly today. Well, rapidly. We're going to go from somewhere in the 20s to somewhere in the 40s, maybe scratch out 50 if the sun pops out somewhere later in the afternoon. And it's going to be that warmth is going to hang on into the evening hours. And so it's going to be above freezing when this system comes through. And then so tomorrow, the first real rain it shows is somewhere around 8 o'clock. That it actually clips us, okay? But it's close to us. And then it only rains for a couple hours, and by late in the afternoon, now we're talking somewhere right around 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, boom, the rain is gone, and it's already passed through. And it doesn't look that heavy as it is, although a couple heavier showers on the backside. So some light rains come through tomorrow. That means any snow that's on the ground still that hasn't melted by late this afternoon is going to be pretty much tagged out overnight if we get some of that rain for tomorrow during the morning and into the afternoon hours. And then we're pretty quiet for the rest of the day as a big high kind of takes control right behind that clipper. Well, I wouldn't call it big high, but it's a high right behind the clipper. And if we look back to this morning, right, we don't see much. We see this little wave come through, and it's not as strong as it was, at least the way it looked 6 hours ago. We know as we take a look at this that obviously there is something moving through, and we're picking up a little bit. Now, you see how forecasts can be so off at times. This model was only literally 6 to 8 hours from us getting snowfall, right? And it showed no snow on the actual model for us getting any at all for that time frame. Now we're also starting to see a little bit of buildup on the back side of here. Look at this. Little bit more right in there. So we'll have to see, and we're starting to hit maybe some of the cameras. Maybe we'll get some of the cameras' pictures here, but it looks like it might be snowing. I'd run outside and take a look, but you guys let me know, is it snowing out there? Anybody? Hello? Bueller? All right, so let's get back to our maps and take a look. So we see what's going to happen. The snow goes through this morning. Then we're pretty good. We warm up. Then we have a little rain band that comes tomorrow during the morning hours. It's gone by mid-afternoon, it looks like. And then we're into some pretty good weather. And what I see is the trend is one system was here, the next system was here, the next system, look at this, is way up over here. That means we're just starting to get an influence from the southwest a little bit. The high, the ridge that was out west that I talked to you about being over the Rocky Mountains, if that moves towards us and over us, that pushes in warmer air for us. So let's go back and look at temperatures, and we'll see what we're talking about with that. See if we get some warmth. I'm going to put the big picture up first, and then we'll zoom in towards Lafayette a little bit more. So here we are this morning. We see the big broad area, kind of where the cold air is. It's still chilly out here in Missouri, even though it's the 30s and 40s. It's a little warmer there than it is here. Obviously, there's the push towards the north as the day goes on. And look at that. We're right on the verge of 50. 56 over here in Kankakee it's showing right now. I think that's Kankakee is what it's trying to show. 56 in Champaign, yet we're at 49, and that could be cloud cover. It's all going to be cloud cover. Maybe a little stronger push in this spot, a little bit warmth that comes up right through the middle of the state right there. Almost gets to Indianapolis too. So I'm going to shoot for 50. I'm going to say we're going to hit 50. This is at 6 o'clock this evening when that comes through. But look at the big pocket of warmth out here. 88 degrees in Oklahoma already. Hey, guys, it is March, all right? Then it drops a little bit overnight, but it does not get back down below freezing. It gets down to about 35 to 38 in the local area. And then look at this warm up tomorrow. We know the rain is coming mid-morning. It's already back into the 40s, right? And then look at 50 by mid-afternoon into the evening. So another day tomorrow where we may be pushing somewhere around 50 to 55 tomorrow, but with the rain, maybe let's look at the afternoon a little bit. Okay, so there's 4 in the afternoon. It's 52 degrees, and the rain should be done by that time frame. So maybe you'll be able to get out and about. And I would think clouds would still be lingering over us. Hence the reason we're at 52 instead of 62, which will be just to our southwest. And then as we push towards Friday morning, overnight, Thursday night, not too bad. Looks like we're in the low 40s at this point. Let's see how much more of this new run is in and see if it's changed. It's not really changed much. We only have half of it in at this point. So we get to see that it does show us, shows the same thing, right at about 49 degrees. So let's zoom in closer on this and look at the temperatures real quick on this. There's 49. Look at it. It shows Crawfordsville at 50 degrees this afternoon. So there's a strong possibility of that into the evening hours. And then it stays about 35, 36 overnight. There's a 34. Little bit questionable on the temperatures there. But that's before it's not even gone out to when the system is coming in. And what is it going to do for wind gusts for us? Well, obviously the system now is still gusty. But the fact that our temperatures are cold, it's still got a wind chill. But in the next couple hours, as we start to warm up, and the winds slowly die down into the evening hours tonight. Now we're only getting gusts to like 9 by about 8 o'clock tonight. Then we're going to see temperatures continue to be not too bad. Then tomorrow morning, it's pretty light, 9 to 6. Here we are at like 2 in the morning, right? 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. It's dead calm outside, right? Pretty much by that time frame, because these are just gusts. So it's pretty much dead calm. That means there's probably a very weak high pressure, and you could kind of pinpoint some of the wind directions. Look at that, southeast going from we'll call it northwest, right, to that direction. But the clockwise rotation is right over the top of us, right? So that's where your high pressure will be in the morning hours. And this is at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, all right? And then there's some gusty winds out to the east. Kind of has high pressure right on us. Yet that clipper's going to bounce right through, right? There it goes. And it doesn't pick up our winds much. At least it doesn't show it by about 7 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock. Still shows any wind off to our west. But the model's only 50% done, and it's 9:26 in the morning. Unfortunately, as we get into this part of the year, we're going to see this because the model won't finish until about another half hour from now, so we may pick up more of it. That's the HER, though. We can go to the NAM, right, and the NAM nest, which shows us close-in winds and shows us close-in information. Let's see what it says for temperatures. Let's go back to today. Here we are. This morning, right? This is 9 o'clock this morning. Shows 27. That was pretty good. It has us above freezing basically by noon, right? And by 1 o'clock, we're pushing 40 degrees, and it goes for a high somewhere right around 46 to 48. So we're definitely talking 45 to 50 this afternoon. And I'm going to go with 50. I'm going to say a few of you are going to see some spots of sun and get to maybe 50 degrees out there late this afternoon going into the evening hours. And then we drop. It does say we'll get back down to 32, 31 tomorrow. Around 6. Now here we are at 8 o'clock. We're warming up pretty quickly, and then the rain starts to come through, right? And look at that. It says we'll get all the way to 60 tomorrow, rebounding to lower 40s, it looks like, on Friday morning. And then Friday, look at this, boom, 70 degrees. Okay, so there's the excitement that's on the NAM. But let's look at what it says for precipitation on the NAM on this. Where am I at? Winter precip type. There we go. So here's the first little system, right, kind of coming through the area. It's still this is at least picking up the snow that's coming through right now, right? This is at 11 o'clock. This is 10 o'clock. That's pretty good right here, right? We know something right along this area is happening. It shows it a little drier here. Maybe this batch is right about here is the difference. That's all it is. It's just 20 miles. So one of those hard things to say if you want to pinpoint it like that. It kind of goes through, washes out. What does it do tonight and then tomorrow? Okay, I see green starting to pop up overnight, right? And then here's what I'm concerned about. While the HER keeps saying we're not going to get below like 35 or 36, we saw 32, right, on here on the NAM. So, and what I'm seeing instead of green is I'm seeing little pockets of ice tomorrow morning. This is at 6 in the morning tomorrow morning when we start to see the first little indications of it. And it shows that system as being hardly nothing to worry about. Okay, so it only shows scattered light rains tomorrow. And then it tries to pick up some scattered light rains from that other system that we talked about. Very, very light, spotty. When I see something like this, I go to myself, okay, about 10 people out of this whole entire area are going to see some rain during this time frame. The rest of us are going to see some sprinkles, right? And I think more sprinkly type activity with a low cloud cover. And that is very consistent around low pressure systems that are to our northeast, especially. They're pulling down the cooler air mixture, and we're mixing in with some warmer, more humid air to the south, and not like tornado type activity, but we get a little buildup in the cumulus clouds, which would be just nothing normally, and they can drop some sprinkles and some fog potential kind of thing in here. That looks more like a fog scenario than anything else, and we'll have to see how that happens on Friday morning, whether we see any fog or not, at least on that. And that's just by looking at that I kind of get that idea and that feel for it. Snowfall accumulations through this whole thing, it says nothing, right? So we're not looking at much at all. Wind-wise, we looked at that also. So let's go a little bit farther now into the forecast. Let's get into the GFS. Let's just go straight into it and see where it's showing everything. It shows it kind of. Let's see the first system. As you notice, it's squared off a lot more. So let's go out so we can see the sector a little bit easier, right? Remember, it's a broader model with farther points in between where it puts pixels on the screen, so to speak, all right? Where the HER and that NAM nest are in closer, and their pixels are closer to each other. So it picks up a little bit more. This is more of a broader model. It goes out much farther, though. It goes out past 2 weeks, all right? So let's take a look and what we're seeing and the time frames on this, right? So here we are. Now we are out already till Thursday afternoon, and I don't see it showing hardly anything happening from either system for us. It shows the model tomorrow, right? Bumps to the north. This is kind of bumpy, and look how haggard and just shredded apart it is compared to what the other ones are showing. But the HER's still saying there's going to be something there, and the HER's got those closer in things. So this is not picking up that small little clipper system at all, where the HER is picking it up a little better. And that is very common. Bigger systems show up easier on these. Okay, so then we get into Thursday night, and is there anything Friday night? Oh, well, it does show a little bit of the clipper system off to our north, right? It does right there. But does it do anything to us? Not really. And remember, we're jumping now in 3-hour gaps instead of 1-hour gaps like we were before. So there you go. Maybe some in Ohio, that kind of thing, and then it kind of presses on. And then we're out of the loop. We're out of the loop for any kind of precipitation on anything, right? And no snow. So I'm wondering, is the snow gone for the year, right? I still think we'll probably still have a couple flurries somewhere. It'll be a cold morning somewhere, and we'll get some flurries or something. But it looks like right now, after this morning, most of our snow is gone out of the picture for us. Look at this. I'm going out farther. This is next Tuesday now already. Now we're looking at next Tuesday night into Wednesday. We got to watch this system, right? And look at how our 540 line is flirting just to the north of Lafayette, which is right here. Okay. Then you see the rain right there mixed in with the system. But it's very light. It's a weak system, and the model's not picking up a ton with that at all. So I could see a flurry or two out of that, maybe mixed in with some snow, but that looks like a very weak system. Now we're getting out to Thursday next week. Now we're starting to get a pretty decent system in here. Now see what you'll notice. What happened with this last system? It rained a little bit, we got some thunderstorms, and then boom, a few hours later it was snowing, right? And that's exactly what this system looks like, although it doesn't look like a lot at this picture. This would be next Thursday evening at 8 o'clock in the evening, and then here's like 11 o'clock, right? And it shows a little bit of rain going through, and then 2 in the morning, and then 5 in the morning, and there's some light snow right there, just off the backside of that system. No real accumulations for that. Big high builds in behind the system. That's a big high right there. All right. Then we stay chilly for a day or two probably there. And there's another little clipper system that we all have to watch out for. But that's next Friday into Saturday. All right, and where temperatures are below normal now at this point, because we should be now up in the mid 50s just about every day by the end of March. All right, pushing towards 60, and then there's some rain towards March 31st, and I've seen variations on this one already. And let's see, it's Wednesday, right? So this is the third time we've looked at it. And we saw what we would call your daddy storm, which was classic, low, big old curl on it, an occlusion, warm front, cold front, trough coming off the backside. And it showed it like coming in on Sunday night, right? Now here we are, 15Z on Tuesday, which is like noon on Tuesday to 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And it doesn't look nearly as wrapped and strong as the system did before. And yesterday's, it bumped it from Sunday into Monday. Now it's pushing it into Tuesday. It's slowly, this is the same system. So it's still picking it up, and then it's pushing it away. But remember, it's trying to do something for 2 weeks from now. That's nearly impossible. What it does show at the end is the same thing, too, as a trend of a west to east stationary frontal boundary in Kentucky and Tennessee. I think the first day it was over Ohio, right, over the Ohio River, right there, right where Indiana comes into Kentucky. And then yesterday it was a little farther north, and now it's positioned it a little farther to the south. And again, it's 24 hours later, and it's moved it another 12 to 18 hours into our future. So something to keep an eye on there, because if that stationary sets up over you for a couple days, you can get a lot of rain. And we look for some of our rainy, floody conditions in sometimes when this kind of scenario right here sets up in the exact same place for several days. And it does do that sometimes in the spring. So I'll keep an eye on that. That's way out April 2nd. All right, so that we're watching that. April Fool's Day into April 2nd is the potential for that rain out there. Let's check out the temperatures real quick during this time frame. We got to see what it's going to be like, right? Let's come back to now. Let's watch the big pocket of warmth, because this is where our warmth is going to come from this time of the year. It's either due south or southwest, right? And let's see how it warms up over the week here. All right, so here we go. This is Thursday. It's saying Thursday's high is like 62. Let's see if we can get Wednesday real quick here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. There it is. Wednesday afternoon, 47. It's in the upper 40s to near 50 again. Again, broader, right? So remember, take these as trends, not necessities on systems when you get into the bigger models like this. All right. So then with tomorrow, it says we're going to be into the 60s. That showed 62. If you're not sure, Lafayette's right here. Overnight, Thursday night into Friday morning, it's showing 52 at around midnight, only dropping to like 48 in the morning. See, nice. That's very seasonable. And then warming up to, look at that, 70. Woo, doggy. So Friday, I'm going to shoot for the low 70s, right? I see 70 on here. I'll bet this modifies a bit. And other than cloud cover stopping us, I'm going to say we're going to be like 72 on Friday. And then I'll bet we're warmer on Saturday. And this does not say that. Oh, it says that means there may be some more cloud cover on Saturday. And then Saturday on the other model is where some of this warmer air could pull itself in here. It's only showing mid-60s. So maybe we get back up to 70 again. I still see, look at the arc is right here. Look at this wind barb. It's going north, right? Going north. And then look at these wind barbs. Northeast, 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 northeast. Look at these wind barbs right here starting to go towards the west, or excuse me, to the east from the west. So you can see the arc of where the temperature would be. But there's a stronger wind over here. So it's going to pull a lot of the warmer air up in here before it gets to us, because there's a high over us right there, roughly in that spot. And that's why we may not quite make it. So let's see if we rebound on Sunday next week. And sure enough, there's your day right there. Our first 80-degree official, I think, 80-degree, because I think officially at the airport they've only been out to 77, but I'm not sure on that exact numbers on that. But we're next Saturday, we could be very close to, or excuse me, this will be next Sunday, the 22nd, which is only 5 days away. That's this one coming up. We could hit 80 degrees this Sunday. Very strong possibility with that right there. And you notice the cold air is bottled up just to our north, right? It's not very far away. Then we're going to drop off. That little system runs through, cools us off, gives us a little bit of cooler temperatures back near seasonable. Look at this. Monday's high is only in the 40s. So it's going to be 80s or at least 70s, right, on Sunday, and then Monday you're going to be like, what happened this Sunday? Because it'll be probably gloomy and cloudy and chilly. 45 degrees maybe for a high. What a change. And then we may see some 20s again for a day or so as we start to warm ourselves back up, and we're still now we're back to seasonable. We're in the low 50s by mid next week, right? Wednesday, there it is. You're in the upper 50s to near 60, and we're back to this southerly flow. Look at all these winds. Your wind barbs are going this way. Your isobars are going this way. You're starting to build. You'll start to build some low pressure systems. More of a spring-like attitude. We keep the warmth in here, and we watch what happens each day. There we go, warm. Then we see a system pop through. It reinforces the cold for 24 to 48 hours, and then boom, we start to reinforce the warmth. Starts trudging towards us again, right? Each day is like that. Then here we are by following Monday, and we're starting to see all this warmth get way up into the Dakotas. Look at that. And we're still in the 50s there, which is near normal, a little bit below normal by the 1st of April for sure. And then we start to pull some of that warmth in towards us. Nothing major. We don't get any of the real dramatic except for maybe 1 or 2 days where we might get to 80, like Sunday possibly. That could be our first day of hitting 80. We don't get the dramatic changes like they are in Kansas, because there are places that, like in Kansas, Nebraska, that will be 85 or 90, but 2 days before they will have been 30. So you can see that 50, 60 degree swings in a couple days. We are going to see 20, 30, 40 degree swings pretty easily, though. It looks like up and down several times just in the next couple of weeks. Very dramatic up this weekend from where we are right now. So that'll be the crest, and then we'll see a fall off at the beginning of next week. Then it'll try to warm up. Then it'll fall off again by the beginning of the following week, and then it's going to try to warm up again as we get into April. So, man, that's what's fun about spring, is a lot of the different types of weather. This is where you get people when they say, what's the weather like in Indiana? And they tell you just wait 5 minutes, right? That's the kind of thing. When you see people talk about that anywhere in the country, it's usually in spring that they're talking about that, where you can have snow this morning, right? We'll have rain possibly tomorrow during the day, and we might be 80 degrees by Sunday, and we'll probably be 70 by Friday. Right? So here we are Wednesday. So from Wednesday, we're going to go from 20 something this morning to 70, right? So we're going to press 40, 45 degrees temperature differences just in about 2 days. Okay, so that's what we're going to see also. So while we're not the 40, 50, 60 degree swings like they're going to see there, we're going to see 30, 40 degree swings pretty easily just in the next couple of days. And everybody's going to love it, including myself. I'm going to get out there too. Try to get some spring stuff started. For us, it's chickens. We're putting in chickens. Well, we think we are anyway. All right, let's go back and look at a quick picture of the interstate. And here we were at 43 after the hour still, 13:43. I don't know if that's right on the money right now or not. It is. So this picture was just taken, and we actually see a little bit more light snow on the side, just a little bit, and it's grayer, but we can't actually see any snowfall in the picture. All right, let's go back north one shot. There it is. Actually, the south, we went down to 26, and I can see now it's grayer again, right? And we are picking up a little bit of light snow along the edges where the wind's being pushed around. Dayton, same thing, a little bit more light snow than it showed, but I can see the low cloud band right there. That's probably where most of the snow was, right there. And it ran through, and this is where you're seeing it, that you can see that's what we're going to see. So let's see what Frankfurt looks like. Not bad right now. It's in between. You can see the dark clouds a little bit over here. I see a little batch right there, and it's still kind of bright down there. And their other picture doesn't look too bad looking back towards Frankfurt. It's pretty bright down to the south, especially from that shot right there. Let's look back at some of the city cams, because some of those update pretty good. Hey, there you go. There's the snow right there, right there. This was taken at 16 after the hour, so a half hour ago. So they're taking pictures maybe this is 40 after the hour in 16 seconds. 08:40:16, and they haven't updated their clock yet. It's 09:40:16. Now, this could be an hour ago, though, too. So it's hard to tell. You never know whether the clocks are right on these things or what. It's all dependent on who takes the pictures, right? For instance, this one says 084016. Okay, so now we're at 840. Is it actually 940? Was this 5 minutes ago when we look at this? That's the way I want to think about it. Here's the next one. See, this one says 942. So that makes me think the clocks are updated like they should be. This is right by the airport. And I can see they just got their little bit of light dusting of snow, and it does look like it's still snowing in the picture there. So don't look for a lot of snow, but it does look like we're starting to see some of those snows in the area right there, down by where 52 crosses into the right to River Road, right through there. That's where you're seeing some folks, and it's a little wetter now. Remember, that was pretty dry when we looked at it a little bit ago. And then over by the mall, it still looks about the same. A little bit of light snow on the ground there. So what's the radar look like at this point? Well, the radar already says it's pretty much most of it is by us. But remember that little strip back here that we still have. And the timing on this is saying that we've got just a little bit more, and then we're going to just open wide open right there. Let's take a look real quick at the visual. Let's put a good visual on here and see if we can see some of the openings on the last couple shots. All right, so what I'm seeing here intensity-wise, and I'm going to hit it, this is about our best visual shot. Lafayette is right here. See the little buildups on here, how you can see the shadows on the cumulus clouds here? That's showing where some of the snow is falling. And then this is covered up by some higher clouds right here, right? So the snow that's coming through. And then I can see a little wave of right on the backside right there. That fits really good with where the radar shows it, right? Exactly, almost in the same spot. Matter of fact, let's go like this. Bing. And there it is on the backside. They weren't exactly in the same place, but pretty close. And then we'll go back to that day phase real quick. And what I do see is open spots back in here. Look at this. Oh, and then there you can see snow on the ground right back in here, and the river just starting to pick up. And it's a little darker over here because they're just getting a little bit more light now too. And then this is more higher clouds here that won't produce much for snow at all. See the river running through central Illinois right there. I think that's the what? Illinois River, right? I don't think that's the Kankakee, although does the Kankakee turn sideways? Does it run into it right there? Maybe that is the Kankakee. I might be getting my rivers mixed up. Doesn't matter. We can see some open spots out to our west right now and to our northwest, which means we will see some kind of sun today, and that will help warm us up as the morning goes on this morning. All right, so what else do we got going on today? Well, for me and for you guys, we are going to, wow, oh, cool. We are going to come out to you. Hello, everybody. How are you? Now, I went from the very little Brian to the big Brian. And that's what's been happening to me lately, too. Since I've had to change the medicines and stuff, I started putting weight back on. So, guys, say some prayers for me to help me try to lose some of this weight again. The new stuff they're giving me isn't helping at all, it seems like. I just want to eat. And unfortunately, I want to eat bad things. Me and cosmic brownies. Yes, you guys know. Don't buy me any cosmic brownies. All right. Although I still may buy some for the church meetings when I get to the church meetings. Mandy, I'm still trying to hook you up out there. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Purdue basketball. Let me see if they got any new stories on Purdue basketball right now that are on their website. You know, yesterday it just kind of gave you a little indication of what's going on. Now, we do know that they're going to play Friday night. 7:35 on True TV is where it's supposed to be, and that's in St. Louis. So you can make the drive to go down there if you wanted to go see an NCAA March Madness game, and you could see Purdue play. They're a number 2 seed. They're playing Queens out of North Carolina, the number 15 seed. And so that will be the big setup for that game coming there. What are the details of that? What do you want to know about that? Well, they're calling it March Madness Central. 2 days, 9 hours, 11 minutes, and 54 seconds is what I hit on here. And this is just right in the PurdueSports.com website. You can find most of this. The Hayes Family Athletics Ticket Office utilizes a request process during postseason play, so tickets are not guaranteed until allocated and charged. So they're talking about tickets on the front here, and a lot of the John Purdue Club people they're talking about with that. You can still also listen on the radio. Don't forget about that. Some of our friends on there, Bobby Rydell, will be talking on the radio there. We love him, and we love to hear what he's got to go. So he'll be on the affiliate and listening to that. What are we looking about the fan club, the Purdue fan headquarters? Midwestern is going to be where they're going to be at. If you're headed to St. Louis, join the Purdue for Life Foundation and join Purdue Club at the Midwestern, your official fan headquarters for the tournament's first weekend. And that's at 900 Spruce Street in St. Louis. And the Midwestern is located less than half a mile from the Enterprise Center. And all Purdue alumni, fans, and friends are welcome. Festivities begin 2 hours before each Purdue game. Free entry and no registration is required to get into those festivities, I'm sure. And attendees are responsible for their own food and drink. Seating is first come, first serve, and please note that the restaurant will remain open to the public throughout each event. So that's what they're doing there for them, right? So that's where that is anyway. That's in St. Louis. Okay, they're talking about gear. They're really not talking about the team at all yet. We're going to start seeing opinion pieces and things like that a lot more tomorrow. I've seen already updates on the internet about what people think is going to happen. Purdue's favored by more than 20 points in this game already. I'm not sure what the actual betting lines are, but when you look at the numbers, Ken Pom and that kind of thing, Purdue should win this very easily, but we know what happened 4 years ago to us, right? So the team, that is, what happened to them. But for us as fans, that's also was a killer thing that happened. But then they rebounded the next year to go right to the national championship. And they lost in that game, but they were there, right? Shows what people can do. Well, last year's team was pretty good too, right? It was not a bad team at all. And they got into the Sweet 16, no problem, and they lost a heartbreaker. Now, these guys are all seniors. They were on that team from 4 years ago. They were on the team that went to the national championship, and they are on the team last year that looked like they had a shot at making this Great Eight, and they lost that game in a heartbreaker, right? So this year, do they rebound again and respond? It sure looks like it the way they played in the tourney. They're going to be ready to play some ball, that's for sure. You're going to have guys diving all over the floor. You're going to have them looking like they are the ones who are going to run over people instead of the ones who have been getting run over, which they look like through most of the second half of the Big Ten season. It seemed like once they lost that second game, they lost to what? The first one to UCLA. Then they lost that second game in the Big Ten. It's almost like mindset said, well, we're not going to win the Big Ten because Michigan's so good, even though they still had chances. And then they lost a couple more in a row. But then the Big Ten tournament gave them some, that second win, so to speak. So they kicked in with the second win there, and they'll be kicking in with a full win coming and ahead of steam starting on Friday, and then hopefully they play again on Sunday against Missouri or Miami. Is it Miami of Ohio or Miami, Florida? I think it's Miami, Florida. We got to watch out for that one. They're a pretty good team. They're the number 7 seed. That's in the bracket. So that'll be coming as we head towards the weekend, and I'm excited about that. Like I said, Ray, Roger, maybe the guys, I might have it, try to see if I can get it out on the big screen out on the simulator so we can watch it on 10 by 14 foot screen there and watch it out there. It'll be warm enough. It'll be in the 50s. It'll be pretty consistent. Maybe we'll get some brats going or something and watch the ball game there. And maybe even just do a watch party where we put a camera on us and show you guys what's going on out there too. That'll be kind of fun. So that'll be on Friday, and then maybe they repeat again and play on Sunday, make it into the Sweet 16, and then from there on, every game is tough no matter what. Not to mention the game Sunday could be tough too, because if Missouri wins that game, it's a home game for them. And a lot of people are complaining about how that happened, how Missouri got basically a home game as the number 10 seed. That doesn't seem right at all, does it? No. So if that happens, if Missouri wins that game Friday night, Boilermakers, we got to go show up there the best you can. Scratch out all those coins out of your pockets and out of your dash and try to figure out what you can. It'll cost you a little bit of money to get into the game, but go try to see if you can get into the game for Friday, for the Sunday, for the championship game. Well, what's the championship for that bracket right there, those 4 teams, basically? I guess you call it championship. It's basically getting into the Sweet 16 is all it is at this point. So that's where we are, at least with the Purdue Boilermakers right now. It's an exciting time of the year, something we've been waiting for about 4 months now. Baseball's right on the horizon right now, right? The Cubs are getting ready to start. They've been playing. Unfortunately for the United States, we just lost the what's that big game they call the series? I got to go to ESPN now, right? It's pretty bad that I don't know all this stuff. off the top of my head sometimes. It's like, what's happening, right? But baseball-wise, Venezuela beat the U.S. last night in the which stars will represent they're already talking about who the next stars will be in the next game. But Venezuela won 3-2 and beat the United States, and they win the World Baseball Classic. Now, the World Baseball Classic, and remember, a lot of the guys on the Venezuelan team are playing pro ball in the United States. So it's like pros against pros either way you look at it. A lot of them are young guys, and a 3-2 ball game is anybody's game, right? But they're already talking about who's going to play in the next game already after the U.S. loses last night 3-2. So, and there is a picture of a Cub right on the front there. Pete Crow Armstrong is standing next to Judge, and Judge is a big man. He's 6'6". I think Pete's 6 foot tall, and he looks pretty small standing next to Judge. But Pete has a different type of game, doesn't he? He's a lot faster. But it does show them there, after the game is over, and it does look like they lost. But the games will really begin for the MLB pretty soon. When I look at my team being the Cubs, the Cubs' schedule looks like this, and of course it's going to probably show me a bunch of spring training stuff first. Your first actual game against a team that actually means something. I don't know when that is. It only goes out to Tuesday, March 24th. That's spring training. Oh, all right. Let's look at the real first half, first games. They will be playing while they're at home, Thursday, March 26th. Then, of course, they got that infamous stupid day off, right? They're playing at 2:20 all three games, and they have to because it's going to be next week, right? They're playing against Washington for 3 games, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday. Then they play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday against the Angels, who will come in, right? And then they go out to Cleveland the following week and Tampa Bay the following week. So the season will be kicking off next Thursday, 1 week from tomorrow. Is that what that is, or is that 2 weeks away? No, that's 1 week from tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the 19th. Yeah, the 26th is a week away. Today is the 18th of March already. Gosh, did we just blink? Wasn't Christmas just a little bit ago? Yeah, I still don't have the Christmas lights down from last year, and I got teenage boys in the house. I got to work on that. All right. All right, so let's go back and look at our numbers real quick and see what our temperature is right now. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to go back out to that screen real quick, and we'll take a look at what we're looking at. There we go. It's 28 degrees now. Feels like 19. Winds are up just a little bit, 9. It does say it has dropped the snow out of the picture for us for right now. The radar kind of shows it there, but our radar shows and our satellite shows the cloud cover. Let's go with our radar right here. Let me put it in motion for you. Lafayette is right there, and it looks like the back edge of that is just about right on the city of Lafayette. All right, so I'm up here in Battleground. Some of you are in Lafayette. Some of you are south of town, and you're going to have a little bit longer, but it looks like it's going to clear out pretty quickly here. Unfortunately for us, the cameras do not keep up a good time frame and give us good readings all the time. This was about 17 minutes ago in town. Let's see what the interstates are looking like real quick. There we go. There's 43. 0954. So the time is correct. 3 minutes ago, and as you can see, it is snowing out there where 43 meets 65. And so you can see that pretty easily, at least on that front. And that's looking, I believe, back down towards the south, back towards town, back towards where 26 is, and 25 back in this direction. So that's what you're seeing on that front right there. And what we're going to be seeing for the rest of it, let's take a look at it, see what it is, see if it's clearing out off to the north. Okay, this is 9:54, so this is just, they still have some snow up to the north at this time frame. And you can see, when we looked at this picture about an hour ago, there was really no snow on the ground at all up there. And then how far north? We're still there, but we've got a brighter sky on the 231 junction. And then all the way up to near Walcott. What do we got there? This was 5 minutes ago, and same thing. Well, a brighter sky, a little bit of light snow on the ground. Roads look good right now. I don't see any snow actually falling in the distance. You can't see anything like that, so we're looking pretty good. And how about the people way over by Fowler? There you go. Still kind of gloomy out there. Remember what we said? There'll be some clouds behind it, right? And it will be a little gloomy for a little while, and we could see some flurries, but we will see some open spots eventually somewhere. Probably it's still out in central Illinois at this point, and with Lafayette being right about here, just to give you the heads up. So this will clear. There'll still be some clouds behind it, maybe some flurries, but then we're going to get into our open spot and warm up this afternoon all the way somewhere into the 40s, maybe even 50 by late today, and you're telling yourself, but it's snowing this morning, Brian. Yes, we're going to see some wild swings in the next week or so. Warmer again tomorrow. Friday, we're pushing 70, and Saturday, maybe 70. Just depends on the cloud cover and the issues there as a couple little systems bump along to our north. And then Sunday, could we see our first 80 degrees? Could we see that? Saturday's still a possibility if we open up the skies, but it looks like there's going to be enough cloud cover on Saturday to keep us more like 70, okay, so on that day. So that's a good front. That's a big different change. Here's one of the sweeps up, right? Winter may be dead or close to it after today, but we still may see some snow flurries here or there, but we're going to see some ups and then some downs next week. Then we'll be back up again later in the week and back down again, so you're going to see a little bit of everything in the spring. That's it for today. I am going to sign off. This is Staff Sergeant Brian Burden, United States Marine Corps retired, disabled American veteran. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.